The way blockchain was sold to us was that it can give us freedom and transparency, and it's this liberating thing for everyone to partake in. But what if blockchain is the very thing that enslaves us and further puts us into a state of surveillance for the governments and even big corporations to survey? Now, I know this may seem touchy, I know this may seem taboo, I know this may seem far from, but what if that's actually happening right as we speak? So in this video, I'll be breaking down 5, maybe 6 simple things that I see eroding blockchain, essentially. Now, first thing I want to talk about is data erosion. Now, with the whole idea of data erosion is simply for the fact that with the wrong hands, with data, can start exploiting others. Now, I wanted to think of meme coin culture. For everyone to partake in some type of meme coin trading, you understand mevs and you understand mev bots and you understand front running and so on, and copy trading. Copycats and bots can front load your orders because all transactions are public before they even get finalized. And so let's say, for instance, a mev bot or a front runner or a copy trader, they can see things in real time before they even get finalized. And so that's the first thing first that we have to understand of data exploitation. Data can be manipulated, data can be exploited, especially by big corporations or even individuals themselves. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is everything on blockchain is permanent forever, cannot be deleted, cannot be cleared. Everything that you ever done is permanent. So any mistake you ever make, that's permanent. It's there forever and ever and ever. And so a lot of times, even myself, I found myself, the first time I actually partake with crypto and sending crypto to another wallet, I actually lost my money. And I actually spent days trying to figure out on YouTube how to do this and that. But the simple fact is that any mistake that you make on chain, that's gone forever. You send it to a wrong wallet, too bad, that's on you. You know what I mean? You ever woke up one day and feel richer than ever? That's also another thing, that's on you. But you have to understand that every mistake on chain is permanent. Moving closer to what I was talking about now, we're talking about the state of surveillance on chain. Now, what if, hear me out, this is my speculation, right? And this is also some speculation around the internet or whatever. What if this blockchain incorporation into everyday life or even into CBDCs and incorporating how we do things with Web3, incorporate with our social credit score? And so this is where the big idea behind the surveillance state, because you can't hide anything anymore, and they have AI bots or AI models or even on-chain analysis. They have on-chain analysis firms that can literally do investigation to find out who an individual is. And so the idea of you being anonymous is kind of false, simply because you have on-ramps and you have off-ramps. And so you can go ahead and put money into crypto, but the moment you put money into crypto, you become a real person. Because the idea of having, let's say for instance, a on-ramp where they have know your customer verification is very limited, if there is any at all. And so the moment for the masses I'm talking about, the moment someone from the masses inject themselves into the crypto world, the blockchain world, where smart contracts, whatever, they are now there for everyone to see. And so it's not hard to figure out who someone is once they have declared themselves, whether that's online or just through a certain activity. And so you have to understand that once you're on the blockchain, it's there forever, and you can be in a state of surveillance where even, for instance, communities, let's say for instance, you're blocked out of a community based on your on-chain activity. With blockchain, you cannot be trusted. Or let's say for instance, you are in a certain standard or class, let's say for instance, rich or poor. Let's say for instance, you are too poor to even be a part of a certain community. So you can be excluded from communities, and you can also be excluded by governments using their tracking system on CBDCs, which is actually programmable. Now that's a whole other conversation in and of itself, but that's something still that's fun to think about or even explore. You have to understand that the death of privacy, as I said before, privacy will no longer be, simply for the fact that, I've said it numerous times in this video, everything's permanent and public. Think of it as a glass box of money just being inserted into it, right? But you cannot see who is inserting it. You can just see individuals inserting money. Until someone identify themselves as, hey, this is me, or let's say, for instance, let's say they make a mistake or they gave a wallet address number or whatever. Someone declare themselves, hey, this is me. You can then track every single thing that they've ever done on chain using that one address that you have. Now that's pretty scary if you really think about it. So the criminals of the future, be smart, be mindful, because nothing is there. And so it begs to differ. This is where my whole thesis of this entire video even came around. What if this was all a big plan? All a part of a big plan? I'm not really one to say I'm a conspiracy theorist. I just like to think a little bit outside of the box. Think of it, Bitcoin came after the crash, perfect technology, good mathematics, perfect economics. Well, not perfect, but you understand what I'm trying to say. And all the stars align for mass adoption. And so the technology itself has proven that there has been some deep level of thought put into it. And what if it's just a plan for the reset? Obviously, we understand the monetary reset that's coming with the digital age and the digital IDs and Web3. And we also understand the CBDC's plans for digital currencies. And so it really begs to differ. How long has this plan been in effect? And are there enough people that are getting ahead right now? Now, while this is something that is concerning, you can do certain things to then prepare yourself for it, which is why I'm making this video as a whole. My point is, be mindful of everything that you partake in, especially on chain, simply for the fact that everything's recorded there forever. That's what I want to stress, and I want to literally put through your brains. Everything's there on chain forever. So you cannot hide crimes on the blockchain, because people like Zach XBT that found that Chinese guy that stole over $240 million from that one time, that Bitcoin scam. It's all over the internet, it's crazy. But essentially, you cannot hide. The idea behind crypto is this decentralization. And while this is partially true, there's no centralized entity, there are centralized, let's say for instance, Etherscan or SoulScan or whatever, these data hubs for people to go and view transactions, they are centralized. And so these are essentially a hub where a select few people that even operate these things can then manipulate data, then filter how the narratives are even coming through towards people who are viewing it. So it begs to differ whether it's truly decentralized or it is still manipulated in some way. Again, we don't know. We only know what we see. This means that they can influence what people see as true and what is not true. And so that's a lot of power to put in the select hands of a few. And to think of it all, who would be better aligned to do that than someone with a lot of money and a lot of power? Not even someone, a group of people with a lot of money and a lot of power. And so still, it is in your hands to ask the question, are we building ourselves a prison, or are we building ourselves an infrastructure for us all to flourish? Now, while I say all of that, crypto is beautiful, Web3 is beautiful. We can make a lot of change and a lot of value from this Web3 economy that's developing around all these different infrastructure, all these different platforms coming up. There's a lot of value to be extracted from these things, but it's also very, very responsible to understand the infrastructure that you are dealing with, understand the ins and the outs and the dark side as well as the bright side. Bright side is, it is very beautiful, very valuable. Dark side is, be mindful, and it's permanent. Now, we do have some privacy tech fighting back. We have zero knowledge proofs, which means you can prove something is true without revealing too much information. This is very beautiful for certain information being transferred. We have mixers and different privacy protocols. That's also very beautiful. A bit like the scammers. I love crypto scammers. They do social engineering where they engineer people and then they steal their money and they put it through mixers and so on and so forth. The problem with these things are that a lot of them cause the alarm to raise for money laundering schemes. And so a lot of them have been sanctioned and so on and so forth. So those are also going through their own battle with the SEC and so on in terms of regulation and understanding, well, how can we properly use this and still give users autonomy versus surveillance. We have encrypted smart contracts like secret networks, and the list goes on. And so while that has been said, if you guys have enjoyed this video or have learned anything valuable, please hit that like and subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Comment down below something valuable for the next person. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.